Yeah, first thing is, we have an interesting announcement about a program in partnership with US Pharmacopoeia. May I request Praneeth to please bring the slide. In this partnership, IKP and USP are working together, focused on women in science, career, and much more. I would like to invite Dr. Mrunal to speak about this partnership.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. I'm Mrunal Jaywant from USP India. So I'm here today along with my colleague Dr. Annu Uppal to launch a new initiative, collaborative initiative between USP and IKP called as She Leads in Science. So USP has been quite active and been supporting development and growth of women employees to leadership role at USP. And now USP has decided to take a next step and decided to collaborate with IKP. So this is IKP USP collaborative initiative was conceptualized to address the underrepresentation of women leaders in pharma by creating a collaborative platform that fosters diversity, promotes innovation, and supports professional growth. This collaborative initiative aims at bringing all IKP women colleagues together and providing them a platform to share their expertise and grow their network. So this, again, USP and IKP would be taking a leadership role in supporting growth and development of women within IKP and advocating for equal opportunities for women to grow in their professional career. And they will be also forming a consortium of women employees within IKP. And this consortium would be organizing mentorship program, training events, and facilitating knowledge sharing session to support development and growth of women employees within IKP to leadership role. I'm quite excited about this initiative and looking forward to collaborate with IKP. Would like to thank Dipanvita ma'am and Ms. Bindu from IKP for giving us this opportunity and accepting our request to collaborate. So thank you very much, She Leads in Science. Looking forward to all the women from IKP region to come forward and support this initiative. Thank you.
So just as we get started, right, one of the thoughts that a group would like to hear in general from you is, please do give us a few words, a little bit on the aspect of your programs, what's happening, we'd love to know more about that. In addition to that, how do you look at global partnerships today? Because we truly are in a boundaryless world. What happens, if you can watch a US presidential debate that's happening on the other side of the world, literally, live, we are very, very boundaryless and we can go. So would love to hear your thoughts on that. And then we can have a couple of more questions and get your perspectives. Would you guys like to start?
Yeah, definitely. So, as you all know, USP, United States Pharmacopoeia, is a standard-setting not-for-profit organization, and it was founded in US in 1820. So, we have completed 204 years, and India laboratory was set up in 2005. Within the IKP campus because of the ecosystem what we have, closer to the manufacturers, closest to the pharma manufacturers especially, and we also have a lot of talent here in India. So that was the main reason to set up another site outside of US, and this was the first site out of the US that was set up here in India. So a global partnership, when it was set up, it was called as our India site, but now as you mentioned that there are no boundaries, and India is also referred to as our Hyderabad hub. So it is no longer, it is called as a site, another site which supports our USP mission, but it I would say contributes to the mission, and it's called as a hub. So Rockville hub and Hyderabad hub. So we do not differentiate between the two sites which we have in Rockville as well as India, and that's the that I would say that's the success of India, because of the talent pool what we have, because of the expertise what we have, the skill set what we have. And why we have come here, again, another thing is, as our standards are used by all the pharma companies, we also wanted to ensure that we have, at India, we have required skill sets. And USP offers a lot of education programs as well. So we are supporting our pharma stakeholders to build those capabilities, required expertise, through our training programs. So that's what I would like to say. Annu, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just one more thing to add in there. India is known as the pharmacy of the world. So we supply a lot of generic medicines from here. And that's where, it is from our standard setting perspective, it is really important that we understand this side of the perspective as well. And that's where working here closely with stakeholders, and like we collaborate with IKP a lot, on what is the industry trend, what are their requirements, what kind of future, considering a lot of innovation happening, newer technologies coming up, especially in case of bio. So how can we incorporate that in our standard setting process? And that's where, so one more thing is USP works on a 5-year cycle, and we are transitioning to a new cycle from 2025 to 2030. And we work, the way we develop our standards is with the help of expert volunteers across the globe. And that's where the call for expert volunteers is on. So we are looking for, people from even India, that experts, that they come forward, apply for it. And that's where having, presence in India helps us a lot in making sure that we have the right set, right tools, right expertise, and help in the standard setting process.
Yeah, I'm representing 2 institutions. My premier institution is the German Academic Exchange Service, better known as DAAD, and we come more from a research and higher education perspective. We are in India since 1960, and you can see that global partnerships is important to us, so we're celebrating 65 years next year. Our focus is in that particular on mobility of researchers and students, so we have a lot of programs in place. So if you are in research, doing research, reach out to us. We have a lot of opportunities to send Indians to Germany, but also to bring Germans for research into India. 12 years ago, we settled also the German Center for Research and Innovation. It's my second job, and there we look particularly into connecting technology transfer and innovation fields between India and Germany. Our focus is lesser on market entry and market access for startups. So we are looking more into joint technology development, joint teams, bringing people together for bringing new ideas out or taking up ideas and make them fit for the market in a way, but not necessarily taking startups from Germany or India in the market. So this is not our focus. To give you an example, we work with incubators, and that's bringing us together with IKP. So we've built over the last 4 years an incubators network. We have in our network around about 25 incubators from Germany at universities and research institutions. And in the network here in India, there are around about 50. C-Camp, IKP, Venture Center, you name it, everybody is there. And what we do is we develop programs with these incubators together for the innovators. So in 3 weeks' time, we will be in Hyderabad. We will bring 15 entrepreneurs, early stage startups from Germany, partner them up with one Indian partner. They will work on new ideas. You're all welcome to join us at the pitch night, 21st of November, here in Hyderabad. So we try with the incubators to develop programs for access, but not just market. As I said, we would look into technology development, maybe forming international startup teams, and we can support there. And I would also like to highlight that just yesterday, the Indo-German governmental consultations concluded in Delhi. And in the final declaration, it was made public by the governments that they would aim for a joint incubation and program and exchange program for incubation. So we're looking into that with our Indian partners. I would leave it here in a nutshell and then maybe take up some questions.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, so I'm an MBA student from Copenhagen, and I'm here to be a part of the program that IKP has with CBS, or Copenhagen Business School, to do business consulting for their startups. So we're a group of 30 students coming over the next week to take part of this 1-month program, where we're going to consult 6 different startups, 1 group per startup, and I'm so fortunate to work with IKP's own TTO, IKP Prime, together with Orlando, and we're going to guide them in establishing different ways to generate revenue. And it's a really good experience to kind of take a hands-on approach to all the theory that we've learned in school. I do a specialization within international development and emerging markets, so we have learned a lot, and I'm excited to now put that into practice over the next 4 weeks.
Thank you very much. As Julie already explained, so compared to the other programs, ours is relatively small with a very practical approach. From a high view, what I really believe is that as students, especially from Europe, we're mostly in touch with other emerging markets or other countries, mostly when you work as student assistant or then in a real job through value chains. I do believe that we will be the next generation that will also contribute to especially our business side, because we are business students. And I think it's very important that we also get actually the feeling how such a very lively ecosystem works, how the people are, which are biodegradable. People have been very welcoming, and it's been a great experience so far.
Nice.
And I really believe that we should push more such collaborations where we not only get the practical side to train our business acumen, also refine it, but also get the cultural understandings, nuances when it comes especially for global partnerships. Because we all believe that we are doing MBAs for a reason that we want to be in a position someday where we can also engage internationally.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First thing first, I think again congratulations to Dipanvita and the wonderful leadership she has given to whole of India to build IKP and the whole team here. It's been fabulous 25th celebrations. Before I talk about the couple of things I do, of course one of them is blockchain for impact. I just wanted to see, just capture some of the thoughts I had while walking around in the wonderful 150 stalls that we have, right? So the fact is 150 is 15 years back, it was something different, right? So there's one change. Second is when we walked around, and because I focus now on biomedical, I could see at least half a dozen clinicians who have left full-time clinical practice to build their startups. That's the second thing I noticed. When we were doing BIRAC, we had seen some of those trends, but I think now it is kind of a cascade rather than a trend. Third thing is Professor Balram this morning was an amazing, masterful exposition of its brilliance. And nobody can hold a candle to him. But what a beautiful way to show how science and innovation, everything is interconnected and something that can be done, hundreds of years back and actually result in products today. And Annu just mentioned about USB being a 200-year-old company itself. I also want to reflect on one mentor I have from Ministry of Science, Professor Vijay Chandru. And he's also part of ABLE. And in some way, Professor Vijay Chandru, when he started a few things in late 90s, he came back from Purdue, and then Pico Peta and others were started, and then he started Strand Life Sciences. In 2004, he stepped out of IISc to do Strand Life Sciences. He couldn't hold on to the position at IISc to do, and also do Strand Life Sciences, right? And if you go today to IISc, there would be at least 36 faculty holding startups. So that's again a marker of change that has happened in University of Science itself. And I think we are seeing the reflection of it. But of course, Professor Vijay and I also talk about something called graveyard of prototypes, and where we are stuck in a level of TRL4 or TRL5. Having said all of that, I just want to do, I also hold a couple of other hats. One is I work with Big Tech, which is part of MolBio, the R&D arm of MolBio. And MolBio is a unicorn in diagnostics in India. And I also sit on the board of Venture Center, which is an incubator in Pune, attached also to NCL. But whatever I'm saying is my personal, and nothing should be ascribed to all the organizations that I work with. Okay. But, so this is what we have now seen wonderfully in the last 1-2 days. I'm going to talk about blockchain for impact. Now, we are, unlike USP, a 3-year-old philanthropy organization, started by a wonderful young entrepreneur, 34 years old in Dubai, who is a world leader in blockchain. He runs a company called Polygon. And during COVID, everybody got inspired to help India, and he also said how he could be part of helping and supporting India. And just from a tweet, he was able to gather quite a few $1 million, and he supported India close to $60 million in the COVID times, including we lacked PPEs, we lacked oxygen concentrators, all of them came. Also by BFI, at that time used to be known as Crypto Relief. And then later, we supported 50 organizations during COVID times. COVID times has become an amazing phrase, right? And then one thing we also lacked that many, I've been talking about this to a few people that I'm meeting, is that while we had amazingly made 2 vaccines, but these were not oral vaccines. They needed syringes to be delivered. And and the pandemic created a global vaccination of all adults. So all of a sudden, we also lacked needles and syringes during that time. Many of us didn't think about that, right? So through Government of India and UNICEF, and Sandeep and Blockchain for Impact, we provided close to $30 million to procure 170 million needles. So close to 1 in 5, 1 in 6 COVID vaccination was done by a needle purchased through the philanthropic funding of BFI. Once the pandemic was on receding, BFI started thinking, and that's when I came in, and I've known them offline for, more than a year, but I've been with them for a year now, or a little bit more. The intention was to how do we look into biomedical research and innovation. And for that to happen, also the intention was to really build a biomedical research institute. And the first thing we wanted to do, and here is what Sridhar, you asked about, collaborations. We said, okay, before we build that institute, let's first contribute and complement the already growing ecosystem in terms of building partnerships with research institutions and some top-level incubators. So we have now created a network called a Biome. In that network, we have research institutions like Institute of Science, IIT Bombay, CDRI, CCMB in Hyderabad, and BITS Pilani, and many others. So that's one where we provide support to really early stage research projects with an intention for translation. So this is somewhere around TRL2, and each of these institutions gets around $1 million over 3 years period, and we support a project up to $100,000. That is one vertical. This research institution is one. We now also are partnering with big centers like IKP to look into, again, complement. I mean, we know that we are just complementing things, right? So to look into research Kickstarter initiatives, as well as fellowships. So you could start looking at gap areas and build that. So So the research institutions, imagine in 3 years' time, we will have probably supported 50 projects, each of $100,000. And many of them hopefully will go into a time where, like the clinicians I saw, many of the professors would also start their startups through funding from BIRAC and other things, right? So that is one. The third vertical, the first vertical is research institutions, second is incubators, third is we are working with medical colleges. So we've started to work with All India Institute of Medical Sciences and other aims. We probably also will open up to work with other medical colleges across India. So we can then start also doing research and innovation in medical colleges. So these are the three verticals we created. So as of now, we have 15 partners. And the unique thing about what we are doing is, this is the whole mix. We also put funding upfront so that institutions don't have to wait for that. And to what your point, the team is fabulous. We have a very dynamic young CEO called Dr. Gaurav Singh. He's a clinician. We have a wonderful director who sits in Bangalore, Pooja Agarwal, you might have met her. But one thing, when you said it's a global world, now so we are a few people. I sit in Berlin. My founder is in Dubai. My CEO is in Mathura. He runs a medical college there. My director is in Bangalore. My other colleagues, some of them are in Delhi, and one of them is in Ooty, which is in Western Ghats. You all must go and visit. And so this is how distributed it is. And we're looking to grow this, hopefully, by the time we build the institute, we would have created so many fires that this will all then join to, when we come in the next few years of IKMC, we'll start seeing their stalls as well. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Satya. I think it's a fairly comprehensive outlook of what BFI does. And, so that's before, COVID, if you look at some positive, that one positive is this concept of working from home. Home doesn't matter where it is. So I think you illustrated that whole...
Well, unless you have to work in a lab.
Of course. That you couldn't, unfortunately, do it from home. So again, what you outlined was what your vision was from BFI. And again, the story was very interesting as to how you guys came from COVID, and then you're just exploring to see how can you impact healthcare. So I see a purpose. I was just curious about our colleagues from Denmark. What's your purpose? Why are you looking at a partnership in India? Just to understand your perspectives on this. Why India? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. I was introduced to the startup ecosystem quite a few years ago. My mom's an entrepreneur. So when she started her business back in 2016, I kind of got a step inside of this incredible world. And since then, I've tried to seek the opportunities to further work with those types of ecosystems, and I have worked in 2 separate startups in Denmark and Norway since. And I have this aspect of my personality where it's like, I want to travel. I want to see the world. I want to experience as many cultures as I can. So I have lived in different countries. I'm Norwegian, but I'm studying in Denmark. But I also wanted to experience a little bit of a completely different culture. So when this course was brought up 1 year ago, I thought this is something I really want to do. I want to see how you actually do business in India, but see from where the real passion is, which is from the startups. So I think that's also a big aspect of why I am here, to see how business is done, to see how we can bridge those cultural gaps. Because we come from Copenhagen, where it's a different way of doing business. And I want to learn, and I want to bring what I know to help those startups as much as I can.
Thank you, Julie. And we'll be very happy, and our IKP Prime team will be very happy to engage for these 20 days and looking forward to interacting with you. So before we move on to Orlando, Satya has to be elsewhere. And thank you, Satya, for such a comprehensive... You meant you want to go, right?
Ask the question, whatever. We have
you said you have to leave?
Oh, I have to leave, but I thought you were going to ask me a question.
No, I'm not going to ask anything. You have answered everything by yourself.
I just wanted to
stay. Thank you.
I just wanted to end with, I don't want to be rude, so sorry, I'm leaving. I have a date with somebody here. But one thing I wanted to say is please look into Blockchain for Impact website. But also I wanted to draw your attention to the NVIDIA CEO who was here in Bombay. And I urge you to hear his views when he was talking to Mukesh Ambani. And there's a fabulous discussion happening. And what he said was this: India should not just look to supply labor to the world, but should look to supply intelligence to the world. And I think that's the reason why everybody is going to work in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Satya. And thank you, BFI team.
Thank you. Yeah. Would you like to answer the question as to why India?
But I would, before he leaves, I just would say, you see how the circle closed, because 2 BFI fellows will be in the Indo-German program, who are based in CCMB. 2 BFI fellows will join our program. So that's how the circle closes, and we speak. Yeah, why India? I mean, let's look back what happened 2 days before yesterday. 8 ministers of Germany were here on the ground in India, and I think for Germany, it's India now the next strategic partner. The German government came out last week with the first strategy paper ever on India. I think it's, of course, the economic power. We're one of the biggest markets in the world. It's the talent you have in the country. 1.4 million STEM graduates. That's nearly all of the student population in Germany. So good talent to connect. And I think especially in the field of innovation, the research institutions have caught up tremendously over the last decade. So the system has expanded. We find good institutions not longer anymore only in the first-tier cities, but also second, third-tier cities. I think there's a good foundation for deep tech. And last but not least, while we are looking into India, I mean, the work which India has done in the startup landscape is astonishing. No, raising from, what it was, 150 startups, 2016, now to 100,000 something. Out of them, 25,000 tech startups. So I think there's a lot of space to connect. There is a lot of space where we can bring our competencies in, but we can also learn a lot from India. How to cost efficiency scale up, for instance. How to scale technology down to make it affordable for the people. So I think we look at from a perspective that India is an equitable partner. It's not longer about capacity development and all these things. And for the German government at the moment, given the geopolitical situation which we are having, we of course also try to diversify our partners in a way. We lost Russia due to the circumstances as a partner. We have our difficulties with China, and with India, I mean, I said we're here since 65 years. We share the same values and trust. And I think that's something where India is outstanding, also in the Asian region for us. So I think we have shared values. Us unites a couple of things. And as I said, and the systems are quite matching well. We just experienced in a couple of workshops we had. So I think it's a lot of opportunities. We still have to work from the German side. Nevertheless, I have to admit that we make these opportunities more public in Germany, because India on a broader level is not seen or as visible. And I think this is something one would need to do for more global partnerships. So India needs to promote its system better in Germany. The wonderful work you're doing. So that we see a lot of interest from the Indian sides towards Germany and Europe, but I think we still have to work that the interest from Germany towards India on a bit of a broader level, in young researchers and so on, is increasing. This is something we need to look into. And then these exchange programs, which I just mentioned, are wonderful. To hear that 30 people come over from Copenhagen business schools, I think this is the right way to do it.
Yeah, great. No, I think one such aspect of getting companies interested, taking the leaf out of the CBS Business School model, will be to talk to incubators and people like us, where we could provide opportunities for soft landing, exploration, etc. That's something that we'll be happy to explore going forward. Do you want any final comments on this topic? Why India?
On a personal basis, Well, I would say, if I would be totally honest, I need to get university credits, and I just took this course.
That was
but no,
too, yeah.
More on a deeper level. I also work in a startup in Denmark. I'm originally from Switzerland, and I chose specifically my study program, which is international development, to also see what's going on in the world. I feel like, especially from a business side in Europe, a lot of people have a very straightforward thinking, focused on Western beliefs or even European beliefs. My personal background is also, my mother's from Mexico, so I grew up with 2 different cultures, and I really like to explore other cultures. What I would like to say, so we are here in a space where most of the people are scientists, right? For us business people, we would like to have deep conversations, but not about life sciences, because we don't have any knowledge. But you see, there are a lot of ongoing programs, incubators, networks that focusing on the knowledge sharing in those areas. However, I feel like this doesn't really exist for the business industry or business field, because I've been talking a lot here to entrepreneurs with great ideas, great passion. I've been doing the same a month ago in Copenhagen at a big tech event, and I would say that in Europe still, when you become an entrepreneur, you have, as a founder, you always start looking into the business side to understand what is a strategy, what does the word strategy even mean, how will you grow, what's a strategic plan, what are the activities you need to do to reach a certain goal. And I think this has been very structured where we come from, whereas here is a lot passion-driven. We want to achieve a lot, which is perfectly fine. It's super nice that people are passionate about their product, because in the end, it's more about the person, right, in a startup, because you got to believe a person. People here are very knowledgeable, very well educated in their fields, so the product is going to be good. But I still believe we should focus more on those educational exchanges to also find a way to systematically maybe create a landscape of business understanding, especially also in early stages where time is the most precious resource, and you need to invest time to build as much value as possible to then make it out of early stage.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.